Before I invite the next speaker to the podium, one, of course, who is no stranger to us all and has been already gracing us with his presence, I must say that he is a remarkable gentleman that has been in the aviation sector for in excess of 47 years. Commencing at the age of 18, and in 1970, for instance, he obtained his commercial pilot license from Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University. He then joined the Guyana Defense Force in 1972 as an officer cadet. Then he subsequently served as officer in charge of fixed wing during his 23 years of Air Corps, or at the Air Corps. He's provided much training and advice on aviation matters before retiring as a lieutenant colonel. He then joined Guyana Airways Corporation, where he became the first Guyanese captain of GAC, the Boeing 757 aircraft, and then chief pilot and director of operations of the succeeding Guyana Airways 2000 Boeing 757 operation. In 2002, he transitioned to the regulatory oversight system, becoming the first GCA's flight operations inspector. He subsequently joined the Jamaican Civil Aviation Authority excuse me, in 2004 as an operation inspector and provided oversight of Air Jamaica and many others. He then became manager of flight operations, and then in 2007, he rose to the position of director of flight safety department of the Jamaican Civil Aviation Authority. And as we all would have been told, in August 2016, he returned to the good shores of Guyana to become the Director General of the Guyana Civil Aviation Authority. Since his arrival, he staunchly ensured that the authority carried out its oversight mandate of the aviation sector. So let's put our hands together to welcome Lieutenant Colonel retired Egbert Field. He will now present to you Single Pilot Resource Management.
Thank you very much, Abraham. A very simple topic, but one that is significant to the industry in Guyana, since we know that the majority of aircraft flying our air are single pilot operated aircraft. The Caravan, as you know, it's a single crew operating aircraft. So is the Islander, the Cessna 206, and which is applicable to the kind of hinterland territory, the airstrips we deal with in the interior, small aircraft. This is just to sensitize the pilots and also the mechanics. A very short presentation, it would not be long. It is mostly a sensitization of single crew, single pilot operation. In 1972, we had a crash of Eastern Airline L-1011 in the Everglades. The cause was the failure of the crew to monitor certain systems in the aircraft, which caused it to descend and plow into the ground because they were not paying attention. They were all preoccupied with the malfunction of a nose gear, a position indicator. In 1978, we had a crash of a United Airlines 173, a DC-8. The cause was an engine flameout due to fuel exhaustion. Why? The captain was focused on a landing gear problem and ignored all the hints, even from the first officer, about the dwindling fuel. Looking at these accidents, what were some of the causes? Preoccupation, inadequate leadership, failure to delegate, setting priorities wrong, failure to utilize the available data, failure to communicate, all because of distraction. And you'll hear later from, I'm sure, Captain Fox about the details or elements of human factor. After these accidents in 1979, NASA decided to conduct a study and do a research. You had a number of airlines meeting. United Airlines was the largest group, the FAA. And from that meeting, they deduced and they came out and realized that CRM, Cockpit Resource Management, which is the application of human factors, was mainly some of the causes or the major causes of those accidents previously. So after that meeting, the airlines decided to make a conscientious effort to start training in cockpit resource management. They called it cockpit resource management at that time because they mostly dealt with the cockpit, with the interaction of the crew, captain, co-pilot, to ensure that the communication was there, that there were no dominant individuals in the cockpit, just causing the other person to remain quiet. So a lot came out from that meeting, and they decided that CRM must be incorporated into crew training. They decided, as it developed in 1990, they decided to extend that training from cockpit resource management to crew resource management. They realized that it was not only the cockpit that should be involved, but you had the mechanics, you had dispatchers, you had the flight attendants. All these were supposed to be an integrated unit when it comes to crew resource management, the interaction of the crew, deliberating and ensuring that there's a perfect link between each individual or each sector. Crew resource management can be likened to single crew report resource management. It's the same. The crew resource management initially started, or cockpit resource management initially started because of two crews. They never really thought about a one crew. But you see, crew resource focuses on pilot operating with two crew. But many principles of a two crew operation can be applied to single pilot resource management. Thus, the definition: single pilot resource management is the art of managing all resources, both on board and outside the aircraft, which is available to the pilot, either prior to or during the flight. And what are some of these? These are aeronautical decision-making, ensuring that you are properly trained and you make the right aeronautical decision. Risk management, knowing how to identify the hazards and knowing how to mitigate and to manage the risks. The pilots flying, you see a thunderstorm, you know how to manage or to navigate that. Situation awareness for the single pilot, must be aware at all times of his situation. It's an actual perception of where he is and what he's doing. Even though it's a single crew or single pilot operation, these are some of the qualities that must be employed. Interpersonal skills, the relationship between the pilot and the air traffic controller, how to get as much as possible from the air traffic controller, how to get as much as possible from the other aircraft which are within the area. And just for a simple checklist that single pilots should employ, you have a number of internal resources. Your own checklist to ensure that you maintain rigid vigilance and rigid adherence to that checklist. Your passengers, the ingenuity, how you should identify and how you can tackle certain problems. Solid aviation knowledge, flying skills, all these are the internal resources that you should have and you should think about and try to inculcate. On the external resources, you have the air traffic controllers there to assist you. Maintenance, your dispatcher, knowing the exact kind of load or the exact kind of weather that you're going to fly into. You should be in tune with such information and with such an individual. The load you're carrying on the aircraft, there's a relationship with the load man. How he's loading you. Is he tying down your load? Is he putting the right amount of load on board your aircraft? Automatic in-flight services. These are information services which can tell you either what the weather is like or which aerodrome is closed. ADSB, we are moving into that very, very shortly, should be operational by the end of next month for testing. They're already all in place, and which is a definite addition to the resources that you will have as a single pilot. The single crew pilot is about how you gather all this information and analyze it and make decisions from this. You don't have a second person in the cockpit, but you have all these internal and external resources that you can draw on, that you analyze, learning how to identify the risks and how to manage your workload, how to conduct a safe flight. And always remember the 5 Ps. In garnering all this information and analyzing them, we come up with the 5 Ps. And these 5 Ps, as I said, SRM must be a distinctive part of a pilot's life. This is what you do constantly. With one practical application titled the 5 Ps. And the 5 Ps are used to evaluate pilots' current situation at key decision points during a flight or during an emergency. It is done before pre-flight. These applications, the 5 Ps, before pre-flight, or in the climb, or at cruise, in the descent. You continue to evaluate, do I have a good flight plan? Is my flight plan on track? Is my plane in order? Is something falling off? Am I hearing strange sounds? You yourself, the pilot, you evaluate yourself. Am I safe? Am I feeling tired? There's an acronym, I am safe. I am safe. Am I ill? Am I suffering from some kind of illness at this time? Because these things happen unconsciously or suddenly. The M, am I on any kind of medication that would cause me to be either not cognizant of certain things? The S will stand for stress. Am I under stress? Have I been doing too much? Is my girlfriend giving me problems? Is my boss thinking about sending me home? Is there any alcohol in your system as per the A? Did I have a drink last night? Am I 8 hours from the bottle to the throttle? Am I feeling fatigued? And did I eat right? Am I hungry? That's the second P, or I should say the third P. The next P is your passenger. The passenger you have next to you, utilize that passenger. He can either read the checklist for you, or he can tune the radio for you, or he can identify if the gear is down or if the lights are on. And is my program doing well? These are the 5 Ps you can, and they are done very, very quickly. Before the flight, you go through these 5 Ps. During the climb, you analyze it at a certain point in time. Because, as I said, any one of these items can hit you in the face without you realizing it. If you're only in the boondocks and your mind is someplace else, your aircraft could be defective or becoming defective and you're not aware of it. Or you of yourself may have had something the day before and you're feeling the effects of it. So it's an analyzation of all these 5 Ps. And that is how good single crew resource management is attainable. The 5 Ps, either before or during flight, to make a decision. And if even a decision to make no decision to change the plan is made, you're certain that a careful consideration was given to all the risk factors presented that is based on information that is available to you, both your internal and external resources. So, with that, very short, as I said, is just a sensitization for the single pilot out there. You're not alone. You have all these elements. And you can research more and more and come up with additional items which you can bring into your repertoire, that you can bring into your arms store for analyzation as you go through a flight. Just making yourself safe, the aircraft safe, and your passengers safe. You don't have a co-pilot on board, but you have all these other elements available to you. Thank you very much.